All right, welcome back to another IT and Trades breakdown video, analysis video. So this is a brand new channel, guys, and just a disclaimer, this is not financial advice. This is for educational purposes only. Trading leverage assets is a risky business, so please protect your capital, manage your capital well, follow your own rules. This is just from my perspective that I'm giving you of the markets. All right, so if we look at gold, now I took a few trades on gold last week, made a bit of money from these, from all of these liquidity grabs here. But nonetheless, we start our chart clean as a whistle. Now, as we can see, a very obvious thing here. We can see a very obvious thing, and that is that the 5100 level of resistance that has been a major resistance in the past couple of days has finally been broken, and it's looking like it's being broken with some volume, judging by this candle. So we can also see, if we go to the bottom, we had a number of these liquidity grabs that fueled this recovery up. Now, as you guys remember, a week or two back, we had this very sharp decline. We saw a sharp correction until the 5100 level, and then we rejected down, and we rejected multiple times from this level, and finally it's looking like it's being broken, but I'm still a bit wary, as we still have this little wick here that can be part of this resistance. So we're going to have to see how the market opens with this one. If we move further down, we can actually begin to draw a little trend line here that price is respecting, right? So we have one touch, two touches, three touches here, which makes this a valid trend line. So in anticipation of this move, what can we expect going into this week? I'm of the firm belief myself that I would like to see something like this. Right, something like this happening. But scenario 2, we can also just come straight back down. That's the two possible scenarios, guys. So I am leaning towards bullishness now, especially with the whole US-Iran situation, with everything going on with the tariffs, and it's absolutely nuts. So I'm leaning more towards supporting gold, or gold prices being supported into this week. Now, if we were to take a trade at this particular 5100 level, if it does become support, what are our targets going to be? Well, let me scroll down to the hourly and let me look to the left. Immediately I can see that there's a number of supply zones, the most prominent one being here at 5400. We also have one here. What is this? We also have one here at the 5200 level, and then a minor one at 5150, right? So 5150 would kind of be my 5145 would kind of be my first target, right? But let's see how market opens. That was it for the gold analysis. Let's jump to GBP USD. All right, if we're looking at the daily chart of GBP USD, now this is not the prettiest chart, I'm going to be honest with you, but we can see that there is a trend line being formed here, especially on the daily, right? Prices are respecting this trend line. So the market overall is moving very nicely in this upward channel. We can see that very clearly, which means that currently our bias is going to be bullish, at least long term. All right. Now, as of recent, we've actually seen a little bit of pressure, a little bit of softness here on GU. Now, if I look to my 4-hour chart, I can immediately identify a supply zone here, right? We can identify another. So this is going to be, so this was already a lower high, formed a lower low, lower high, formed another lower low, lower high, and then it kind of retested this lower high here and it backed down. So as we can see that this level here, the most recent level, is quite a major level of that was support, now turned into resistance, right? So at least the macro, or on the larger time frame, this might be bullish, but as of recent, I do think that we have room to the downside maybe on this. You can actually draw another support zone or a demand zone here, and we can see that this is indeed a valid demand zone where price rallied extremely heavily here. So this is going to be a definite demand zone that I'm going to be watching here. And then if we break this demand zone, we probably, our next level of defense would be the trend line. So judging by how the price has moved recently, it is under a bit of pressure. I do anticipate that we can maybe continue to see a breakdown in price And if it continues, for example, to break these lows, we might see it move towards the trend line. So currently, I'm a bit of a mixed bag on this one. Short term, at least, we can see a bit of bearish pressure in this. But if this starts to happen, like for example, if this starts to happen again, then obviously your bias would be your bias would be shifting bullish. Let's take a look at Euro USD. Now Euro USD, if I'm looking at this chart here, now this is interesting to me. We had this very strong impulsive move, and this to me, honestly speaking, seems like one massive correction. This seems like one massive correction, and I'm going to tell you why. If you go to the daily charts, this, if we take a Fibonacci from the high to the low, it's retracing exactly. It's beginning to react to this 0.618 Fibonacci retracement, which could possibly signify a reversal. Now let's look towards the 4 hour. Let's see if we can see something of value. Right, the first thing that immediately is catching my eye here. You can see this level here, right? Now this level actually aligns perfectly with our, well, not perfectly, but more or less with our 61, between the 61.8 and the 78.6 retracement level. But more so, this is an important demand zone, right? We can see it price tested this zone and it rallied very strongly, right? So that is going to be a valid demand zone, and we can already see that price has reacted to this level. Now if this level of support gets broken, our next level of support will be down here. You can see another demand zone down here as well at this 1,16800 level about. Okay, so for me, in the short term, yes, we are under pressure, but if you look at the bigger picture on this, I do think, and this is just my personal opinion, if we already see a sideways movement here, we can possibly see a breakout of this falling wedge. And I've seldomly been wrong about these falling wedges. They've been sticking with me for a while. I've always trusted my gut instinct on this falling wedge pattern, and it didn't disappoint me once. So let's see. Our last line of defense, I would say, for the bullish idea is going to be this 1,16800 level. If this level breaks, then obviously my sentiment would be turning towards bearishness, right? Yeah, this is a beautiful chart. I like how this is forming. I just want to see something actually. What are people saying about this? I agree. Maybe we can have USD rises. Yeah, so it all depends, guys. It all depends. Let's take a look at some of the yen pairs as well for you guys. GBP, JPY, which a lot of people trade themselves. Alright, so this chart is a bit more messy to me. This chart is extremely messy. I don't really see any valuable opportunities here. Even in a daily, it's been chopping around in this range, and I do think that if we can get a bit of direction, I do think that there's potential to the upside again. And the reason I'm saying this is that price has reacted to this level. It has already reacted to this level again. And, you know, overall, if you just zoom out, we can draw this trend line. And as you can see, if price comes back, retests this trend line, and probably moves up again, in my opinion. I do think that this is possibly an area for us to see upside. And remember, guys, this is just my opinion. As you can see, price is already consolidating, right? Already consolidating, selling pressure is already diminishing somewhat. So let's see how it reacts. But for now, I'm not taking a trade on this. Right, let's do one more. Let's do silver. Okay, so silver looks very similar to gold. I must admit that if I go back to the 4 hour, right? Alright, so I mentioned last week that we had this wedge that was broken, right? This wedge that we saw last week, this wedge has been broken now. If you're looking for levels of support, most likely where all of this liquidity has been grabbed to the upside, which makes this level a nice level of support. This is around the 70.5 level, right? So that's going to be a nice area of support for us. As you can see, this falling wedge has been broken. For immediate areas of resistance, according to the 4 hour, I would say that you can see that this is a very nice supply zone here at the 90 level. So we still have ways to go until 90. Now, As for where the price is now, currently I don't see a clean entry. If I'm being honest with you guys, I don't see a clean entry, except if we come back and test, you know, some of the order blocks down here, it could possibly be. But I do not think that, judging by how price looks now, I do not see a valid entry point according to me, except if it goes back to here, retests it, or if we can also draw, we can see kind of a minor level of support being formed here. So what price can also do is it can in fact break down and then go back up. So bullish on silver for this week, definitely bullish on silver. Price has made a nice breakout of the wedge. If we break this level of resistance, which is around the 91 level, I do anticipate that we can see much more upside to this. I think there's room to move here. So if I'm looking at the daily chart, for example, yeah, daily chart looks strong. Daily chart does look strong, guys. So make sure that you guys stay up to date. Make sure that you guys continue to support ITN Trades. This was our trading analysis for this week. And remember, guys, just a disclaimer that this is for educational purposes only. I'm not telling you how to manage your capital, how to trade your capital. You trade as you see fit. I'll see you next time.